Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 126. Andrew Eisen here, along with Zachary Knight. Hello, Zachary.
Hello, Andrew. So, how are you doing?
I'm exhausted. I had to work again today. I don't wanna. It was
Yeah.
one of those weird things where I was not the most important cog in the machine, so I was not privy to some important need-to-know information. Um, we have a VPN that allows us to get in behind the firewall from outside.
Yeah.
It didn't work. And I'm like, I can't do my little piece if I can't VPN in. And so we're on a conference call with people all over the place. And I say, hey, so at first I just reboot my entire system, just see if it's me. And I have the same problem like, okay, folks, is the VPN down or is it just me? And they say, oh, you have to use the special VPN. Like, oh, the special VPN. Okay. So I used the special VPN and everything worked fine.
Okay.
And
Well,
they're like,
that's
hey,
good.
does this thing work? And I say, it works as well as it does in production. And they're like, good enough. So, but I think the most important thing that everyone wants to know is, did you see the teaser poster for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie?
I saw both of them, yes, and I'm not at all impressed.
I will be completely honest. For 3 solid days, I thought it was just some joke. It
Yeah.
was like 3 days later when I was reading something somewhere. I'm like, oh, that was real. That was an official teaser poster. I thought it was just someone being goofy online. I'm like, oh, that's cute. And then I went about my life, and I'm like, oh god,
So,
oh, that's real.
the,
Oh no.
the question I have coming out of this is this Ugandan Sonic? Because the outline we saw in the first one just does not feel like Sonic.
No, it doesn't.
No, it just does not feel like him. And then I've seen tons of memes about both of them, and somebody posted a meme of the second one where he's on the bridge on top, and it's the camera view.
Is it
And
just me, or is the POV seem to be lower than where his head should be? I mean,
that's
it
what
looks
that's what
like
people are.
okay, someone's already pointed that out.
Yeah,
Because I
somebody's
saw
already
that, I'm
pointed out.
like, is there a camera tied to his
Yeah, well, it's like somebody had posted a picture of a drawing that they did of a rendering, and so normally when you take a picture with your phone, you're going to hold it up like here, right around eye level or face level, but nope. This one was down here, and then they also posted that so they had that part in, and then they're like, okay, well, to get the leg spread that we're seeing, they basically, from his hips, they went 90-degree angle out, and then this way, and it was yeah, I don't
Sonic
know who
was
the artist is they've got doing this, but that guy needs to be fired.
okay. I'm gonna say a naughty word, so the sensitive ears, do this. I think Sonic was trying to take a dick pic and just had the camera facing the wrong way on accident. And so he sent, I don't know, Amy or whoever his girlfriend is, maybe the human girl from the 2006 Sonic. And she's like, "Oh, what a lovely shot of the San Francisco Bridge framed by your legs." And he goes, "Oh crap, I had the camera facing the wrong way." Really odd. Um, Which is funny with this poster coming hot on the tails of the Detective Pikachu movie, another film that features really horrifying nightmare fuel level Pokemon that I really actually kind of dig.
Yeah.
It somehow seems to be straddling that line. I got a sense that Sonic is gonna trip over its own feet and fall on the wrong side of that line.
Yeah. I think this Sonic movie is going to it's going to have some severe uncanny valley uh, feel to it. Where the Pokemon movie, the Detective Pikachu movie, you know that all of the Pokemon are fake, and they're all they're all CGI. But the thing is they look close enough to what the anime and the video games have them as, and they look close enough to what we would think they would look like in real life without reaching the uncanny valley. And whereas so far Sonic has found its way to the edge of the uncanny valley and then dove headfirst into it.
Off, yeah.
Yeah. And this is just 2 legs and an outline. This is all we've seen, and it's already that.
Which is why I'm trying not to be too harsh, because we haven't seen enough to really form an informed opinion, but not off to a good start.
No.
I have to wonder what the makers of Sonic thought right after seeing the Pokemon Detective Pikachu trailer. If they were like, ooh, horrifying nightmare fuel cuddly creatures people are into. They're going to love ours. Or if they looked at it and went, oh, Detective Pikachu's going to eat our lunch. Chaos has a real good point in the chat. Says they were going for realism. He's an anthropomorphic blue talking hedgehog that runs faster than the speed of sound. What about this is realistic? And I agree. Why are you worried about realism with a blue hedgehog that runs on 2 legs at supersonic speed?
It's not like we haven't done this kind of stuff before. We did all this years ago with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Cool World, and a few other things. I think we've done CGI characters in real life movies before too, and
sure.
And I guess a recent one would be Puff the Magic Dragon. No, that's not what it is. Pete's Dragon. Yeah, where that one, the dragon actually looked pretty good. The story was kind of terrible, but the dragon looked really good. Fit in well with with its scenes and with the human actors, and so we know that it's possible to do these things properly. It's just so far we're not off to a good start with Sonic.
Yeah. Maybe once he comes out of the shadows, we will all eat our hats.
What? When they come out with Shadow?
No. When Sonic comes out of the shadow that he's currently standing in the poster.
Yeah.
Yes, and now I've made the chat think about Sonic's blue junk. Now, is Sonic's junk blue, or is it that same tan color as his arms
and his belly?
And his belly, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
So, but I think we should all just take a minute to really consider Sonic's genitalia. I'm sure someone on the internet has, and has probably written a lot of stories about it.
Yeah.
Probably drawn a lot of pictures, too. Jordan Thompson says the plot on IMDb is Sonic is hunted by local scientists, which is typically what scientists do, is hunt things, I suppose. Try to capture Sonic in the woods he lives in, and a rookie cop helps to protect him. So it's Yogi Bear to the extreme.
So, like Yogi Bear or the Woody Woodpecker movie that they did recently.
Oh, that looked ghastly.
Oh, it was pretty bad. But yeah, I don't know.
Some Luigi says in the chat, when will live action movie makers learn to lean into the source material? And I agree with the sentiment. I feel bad making too much fun of Sonic before we've really seen anything, but even at this early stage, it feels like we're making Sonic because we have the IP and we can. rather than we wanna. Detective Pikachu, I'm sure a big factor is we have the IP and we can, but it feels like a movie that the filmmakers really have a love and respect for the IP.
Yeah, they have it.
Sonic, the sense I'm getting is that they don't care. They're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
making a Sonic
Somebody
movie.
else posted that. I saw somebody else on Twitter saying that this generation needs its own Mario Brothers, and where we got the Mario Brothers from the '80s, and it was just a total travesty, compared to the source material. And so nowadays, people need their own, and here comes Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jordan has a good point. Does Sonic get blue balls, or are they already blue and they turn a different color? These are the important questions that I hope a live action film will answer.
I'm sure we'll get
And
plenty of fart jokes, and
I hope the live action Sonic movie focuses on the humans. Because
yeah,
that's what all the kids who are excited about a Sonic movie want to see is the people.
yeah,
Just like all the kids who are excited about Transformers movie are excited about the people, not, the Transformers.
yeah.
Speaking of which, Bumblebee still looks pretty good. I
It
wouldn't
does.
mind seeing
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Although
I
there's a shot in the trailer with two triple changer Transformers who switch places between shots, and I'm like, is that in the movie, or did the trailer editor flip a scene or something? Because they complete it.
they
it
probably just spliced two different scenes together, and
yeah. But, so anyway, yeah,
if I
Sonic.
want to see Sonic, I go see Humans the movie.
There you
Yeah,
go. Yeah. Humans, the movie, and it focuses on cartoon characters. And you're like, why?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you get your copy of Full Throttle from Good Old Games?
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
Which is
I got
good because
mine.
it's one of the old adventure games I've actually never played.
Yeah, I haven't played that one. I still haven't played Grim Fandango, and I've got that. I installed both of them today, and I just haven't gotten around to playing with them yet. So, but yeah, those are two Lucas Arts point and click adventures that I never got around to playing. There was a couple other ones too, but those were the two that I really wanted to play that I never got around to playing.
Remember when Steam made a big deal about releasing a bundle of old LucasArts game? I think there was Loom, there was two Indiana Jones ones, and something else. And we're like, oh man, we're gonna get some of the old LucasArts games, and then they did nothing else ever again.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't. I don't remember that, but yeah, that was. But it's been pretty nice to get these. Because I've, I back in the day we had they sold them in a like a pack of. Let's see, the games that I had were Day of the Tentacle, Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis,
Mm-hmm.
and Sam and Max Hit the Road, and then it had a demo for Full Throttle, and I played that demo to death. I liked it, but it was only like the first scene of the game. It didn't go into too much deep, it didn't go too deep into it, but I liked it. I'm excited to finally get around to playing it.
Yeah, it reminds me. One of my video ideas is game demos that impressed me enough to end up buying the full game. That's a working title.
Yeah.
I can really only think of two off the top of my head. I'd like to have at least three, but I don't want to just completely lie about anything. So
Yeah.
it's one of those ideas I'm kicking around for a future
See,
video.
yeah. Back when the Ouya first came out, I was reviewing a ton of games off of it on Random Tower,
Mhm.
and that was my whole premise. Was okay. I'm going to go and download the demo, and I'm going to play just the demo, and then my final verdict would be: does this demo make me want to play or want to buy the full game. And
Yeah,
there's a
that's
few of them that I actually wanted to get. I bought a few games after doing that, but yeah,
that's a pretty interesting concept. It's kind of similar to my debut review, where I watched the first
yeah.
episode of a TV show and see how well it encourages me to watch episode 2. I actually, I was for one of my video game streams, I was thinking about looking at some Switch or PS4 demos that I downloaded and just never got around to it. Um, I've actually played several. I've been cataloging every movie and video game, movie or TV show I've watched, and every video game I've played this year, because I'm going to do something with that information at some point. And I think I've played like half of the games I've played this year are demos. So I played a lot of demos this year. Yeah. Um, as I mentioned last week, of the 60 some odd games, different games that were nominated for the Game Awards, I had played exactly one. But in my defense, a lot of the games I've played this year are like really long. I played 2 Yakuza games this year, 3 if you count Fist of the North Star, which is essentially Yakuza with Fist of the North Star paint. So I've been Monster Hunter World, and another game that you can sink over 100 hours into easy. Speaking of which, Capcom just announced this week that they're releasing next fall, I guess, an expansion for Monster Hunter World.
Oh, nice.
So it sounds like what I'm getting is typically what Capcom does is they'll release a new Monster Hunter game. And then a year and a half later, or somewhere around there, they will release the Ultimate Edition or the G Edition, or so they had Monster Hunter Tri, and then Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. Then they had Monster Hunter 4 and Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, and then they had Generations and Generations Ultimate, or whatever they ended up calling it. But this time it looks like the Ultimate version of Monster Hunter World is just going to be an expansion like we used to have. But it really sounds like it's a brand new game. There's a new island and new monsters and new story that picks up where the last one left off. And I imagine it's premium priced expansion. It's probably $40 at least. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. New monsters. I haven't played Monster Hunter since earlier in the year, so I guess I probably won't play it again for another year until this expansion comes out. Because I hit a point where, for me, Monster Hunter is once I've beaten all the monsters, completed the story, completed all the quests, and have every weapon for the weapon that I main, which in Monster Hunter World was the Charge Blade, I think it's called, I consider myself done.
Yeah.
I actually never I played that when they released Kluve Teroth, something like that. I played her once and recorded it, but it was boring because you're supposed to play that with like 15 other people. Yeah. And so I'm sitting there just smacking her in the ass with my axe. She's not paying attention to me at all. It's a 20-minute video of me smacking her in the ass with an axe and her not paying any attention. It's really super boring. So I never posted that one. Then they came out with Leostra, which is, I guess, the ice or lightning version of Teostra, which is a fire donkey dragon thing. And to me, I'm like, that's kind of lame. It's a recolor, Yeah. And then they came out with Behemoth from Final Fantasy, which I just never turned the game back on to play it. So hey, it gives me an excuse to turn it back on in a year and check out Behemoth and Leostra, and I'm excited. And the preview teased Nargacuga. I'm pretty sure that's what it was teasing, which is a really cool monster that I remember from 3 Ultimate, I believe, is where
Yeah.
I first saw the Nargacuga. So, yeah, I'm excited for that. No details yet on pricing, but I think it requires the base game. But it sounds like a sequel. New island, new story, new monsters, go somewhere else and do more stuff that takes place after the story of the first one. Like, that's like Monster Hunter World 2, right? Is this going to be a $60 expansion, or it'd be interesting to see
Yeah.
to see what Capcom does with it. But we've got some Capcom news
Yeah.
a little bit later.
But in just quickly in expansion news, one game that I've sunk over 200 hours in this year is Stardew Valley, and Concerned Ape, the developer of Stardew Valley, he announced some big announcements this past week. One, he's decided he's going to be self-publishing everything. All versions of it except for the Switch and mobile versions, which he had contracted out with another company to do those two, and they're handling that. But he's bringing further development of the PC, Xbox One, and PS4 versions back in, back to himself, and he's actually going to be developing more content for it. He decided after the multiplayer update that that the fan community is there and he wants to keep it alive, so he's going to be hiring some other people to help him with development of new content for it, and it's all going to be free. So that's pretty exciting, and then once he gets that going, he's going to go back to working on his new game that he keeps teasing, but he hasn't announced anything about. But yeah, I just think that's pretty neat. He's done several content updates to Stardew Valley since its initial launch, and each one has been has expanded the what you can do on the farms, and how you interact with the NPCs, and the multiplayer update. So it'll be exciting to see what he does for this next update for the game. So, but yeah, I just thought that was kind of a neat announcement for a game that I've been playing. I haven't played Stardew Valley in a while, but so yeah, I can't wait, and I'll get back into playing it some more, I guess. But,
Nice.
yeah.
All right. Well, so last week we complained about Bethesda, and rightfully so, because Bethesda was being awful. The week before, we complained about Bethesda because Bethesda was being awful. And so this week, we actually found a few examples of game publishers doing good, and I would like to share those with you now.
All right.
The first is SEGA, who publishes the Yakuza games, and they've been, if I'm not mistaken, I think the first game they brought over was 3, and it didn't come over entirely intact. I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. Yakuza, the first 2 were actually on the PlayStation. They were dubbed, so that's not true. But Yakuza 3 came over, and reading a lot of development history for that game, it sounds like it wasn't, we need to censor stuff. It was a matter of, we do not have the time and budget to localize absolutely everything in the game, so we're going to need to pick a few things to cut. And so they picked a few things to cut. Still unfortunate, but them's the breaks. I think they have a Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 HD coming out at some point, which I believe restores the lost content. So that's nice.
Yeah.
But SEGA not only bringing these, let's just say it, niche games, they're popular, they're well received for what they are. They're not million sellers, but they do pretty well for themselves, and I'm very grateful that SEGA keeps bringing these out. And I still have high hopes that Yakuza Kanzan and Ishin, the Edo era side story Yakuza games, will be localized and released in North America, because I want them. The next project from that studio, the Ryoga Gokoku I need to see it spelled to pronounce it correctly. The studio that does the Yakuza games, their next project is being local. The localized title is Judgement, where you play a basically Phoenix Wright who kicks ass. So imagine if during the investigation scenes of Phoenix Wright, Phoenix just beat the snot out of people with awesome martial arts moves. That's Judgment. Sega
Nice.
announced earlier this week, they said, for anyone wondering about the original Japanese voiceover in Judgment, the game will launch with dual audio, meaning you can swap back and forth at will. Now that's cool in and of itself, but Sega goes on to say dual subtitles as well, based on which audio track is selected. So the English matches the English script, while the Japanese subs are the traditional Yakuza experience. And if you're a fan of anime,
Yeah.
or localized Japanese video games, what happens a lot is if you play the game in Japanese, the English subtitles are just the English dub script, not actually an accurate translation of the Japanese dialogue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's usually pretty similar anyway, but that's just Sega going above and beyond and just really catering to the fans of these games and just doing right by everybody. It's like, we're going to have the Japanese audio, we're going to have a new English dub. We're going to have separate English subtitles. We're going to have the more traditional Japanese subtitles, and we'll have specifically the English subtitle scripts. So,
Yeah.
yes, Phoenix Wright already kicks ass. I mean, he was in one of the Marvel versus Capcom games, right?
Yeah.
Which was pretty great. I think
Yeah.
3, is that the one he was in? Yeah, he was in Marvel versus Capcom 3, which was pretty great.
Yeah. That's the one I have. So.
Yeah.
But,
so good on Sega for that.
yeah, and
that's really cool.
Yeah, you talked about subs, and this isn't specific to games, but I mentioned a while back on a previous Molehill Mountain where we were talking about different animes, and I'd been watching Fairy Tale, and the final season has been out or is currently running, and and so I've been and the subbed the subbed episodes are like several episodes ahead of the dubs, and usually I'll watch the dubs if if the full season's out, I'll just watch the dubs just to make it easier. But I've been watching all the subbed ones first, and then when the dub episodes comes out, I'll rewatch it again in the dub, and it's very interesting to see the differences between the subtitles on the Japanese audio versus what we actually get in the dub, and for the most part things are pretty much the same, or same meaning and everything is getting across, but the wording choices are very different. Much more where the English subtitles have that Japanese flair to them. Where the English ones are more Americanized, a more Americanized language.
I'll give you a specific example that I do see quite frequently. A lot of anime stars kids in high school, and Japanese kids in school take English classes. They learn English. Now, keep in mind, the Japanese kids in the Japanese schools speak Japanese, so they're learning a foreign language. English is a foreign language class. Now, when these shows are dubbed into English, typically they don't. That's really hard to translate English as a foreign language when you're speaking English. So usually they will change it back to Japanese, or they'll change it to like Spanish class or something. So the problem comes in is when they use the English dub script for the subtitles, and you're watching kids speaking Japanese talking about a Spanish class or a Japanese class, because that's what they changed it to in the English dub. So that's where it becomes a problem. Me personally, I would prefer they just stick with it being an English class, because I think almost everyone's intelligent enough to know that this is an anime and these are Japanese kids in Japan and it's been dubbed. You know, I think most people can swing with that. You know,
Yeah.
you don't need to change every reference uh, from some Japanese food to pizza. You know, Americans get the
Pokemon's
idea of
famous jelly
rice.
donuts. Yeah. Oh,
Azumanga Daioh did that. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
not too surprised. Um, so
Yeah.
Jordan wants a 4 kids version of anime like Death Note. It'd be funny. Really would. Um, so
That would be
moving on to
interesting.
another example of a video game publisher doing right, and this is SNK 40th anniversary collection came out last month, and I pretty much completely ignored it because
Yeah.
I've played a lot of those games, and if I hadn't, I probably wasn't interested in them in the first place. Not usually that big on compilations and stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But then I read a Twitter thread from Frank Cifaldi, who is one of the dudes from Digital Eclipse, who's the developer who works on a lot of compilations, including SNK 40th Anniversary. They did the Disney Saturday Morning Cartoon Collection. They did one of the Mega Man Legacy Connect collections, or both of them maybe. And I learned a lot about the SNK 40th anniversary collection that I did not know. So let me go through this real quick. He says, "Hey, if you got SNK 40th anniversary collection, don't forget we added 11 free games to it today. 9 are part of a patch. 2 have to be downloaded from the eShop for ESRB reasons. One of the reasons Beastbusters is a side-scrolling shooty monster game, and it's got blood in it. Stopping right there, I think that's really cool. One, they released a collection with like 12 or 15 games or something like that, and then they had 11 more,
Yeah.
and it's free DLC, but 2 of them you have to kind of jump through hoops to get because of the different ESR. They couldn't just make it free
Yeah.
downloadable content for the game because it's a different ESRB rating. But a lot of publishers would say, well, then don't bother with these games then. But they went out of their way to make them available, and I
Yeah. That is
really
really
appreciate
cool.
that.
Yeah.
That is super cool. Goes on to
And
say, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, and it for those of us who who have kids and wouldn't want the more mature games, it makes it to where it's easy for us to just ignore them.
Yeah.
We've got all the other games, and we're just not going to deal with these other ones. And
Right. You don't want the
so
M-rated games in the collection of mostly E games. It's fine. Don't download them.
yeah,
He goes on to say that this DLC package means a lot to me. The games in the cart are cool and all, but this DLC pack is to me a better representation of what SNK was in the 80s. Innovative, funny, and really weird. For the on-cart games, we had to make sure all the games were marketable. All the titles, for the most part, had to be games that someone might buy. For the DLC, it was anything goes, and we got to focus on games people might otherwise ignore. It gave us the opportunity to restore games that were damaged by inaccurate emulation. Ozma Wars in the DLC, arguably SNK's first original game, finally has the actual audio you would have heard on a real board. MAME in the
wow,
previous SNK releases did not use this audio. And he talks about fixing audio in a different game and making all the games a lot more board accurate. And he goes on and he talks about how this was really one of the titles is super obscure to the point that the studio, Digital Eclipse, volunteered their time to work on it. Their contract was only for 10 DLC games, but they did the work on World Wars, this game, for free so that they could get in there. And I found out more about this collection. Most of the games have both the arcade version and the console version, which a lot of times is completely different experience.
yeah,
Um, there's save states. You can rewind. If you blow yourself up, you can rewind and start playing again. And it also, I don't know if it's every game, but from what I've read, almost all, if not all, the games have pre-recorded playthroughs. So if you don't want to take the time to play some of these games because they're old arcade games, they're hard, you can actually just watch. It's almost let's play on a cart.
yeah,
You can watch it and you can take over at whatever point you want. So if you're watching the recorded playthrough, you can say, "Oh, this looks cool," and you can jump in and take over from there. That is super super cool. I'm probably going to buy this collection just because they clearly put that much love into it. And there's also a bunch of there's a whole history section in the collection where they talk about other SNK titles, and they have a lot of
Yeah,
artwork and a strategy
yeah,
guide stuff. I'm
I
like,
was
that is,
reading about that, and that is something really neat,
yeah.
and you know, Nintendo, they at least gave us, visual, with the SNES Classic and the NES Classic, we got the original manuals, digital copies of
Mhm.
them for each of the games, and then Sony completely dropped the ball and gave
With
us a
it, yeah.
QR code to to scan and get the manual online. It's just like, seriously, because the PlayStation 1 classics that you can buy on the PSN store have a digital manual. Yeah, right in the thing. It's like I reference the manual for a lot of the PS1 classics that I played on my PSP, and it's just like, why don't you have the digital manual? But yeah, but this is really cool. This is
I
like,
mean, even if you have no interest in the games, I mean, just from an archivist and a game history perspective,
yeah,
absolutely wonderful.
oh
And
yeah,
I also just appreciate the guy's obvious love for this stuff and forthrightness in the. He has a response. Someone's asking about any chance of a volume 2 or more paid DLC, and he says, "I think a volume 2 of pre-Neo stuff. Yeah, I think we probably all know what he's talking about by
yeah,
Neo, but the pre-Neo stuff would be a really hard sell since we did almost everything people have actually heard of, and that's just a really straightforward, honest answer. He does go on to say that it's not, um, it's possible. It's just we're not doing anything right now, but if there's demand, we'd love to, and that's kind of sad to hear. But I appreciate that he's a straight shooter there.
yeah,
He's saying it probably we'd love to do it, but probably not, just because it's a really hard sell. Because the games that the games we would include in such a collection are so obscure, no one's ever heard of them, so it'd be really hard to sell.
yeah,
I mean, if you look at the box, it's pretty clear that the character that is front and center on the box is a gal in a bikini. I don't recognize her. I don't know what game she's from. Probably no one does, but I think the marketers understood every little bit helps, and girl in bikini is gonna, if that grabs a couple of eyeballs. But that said, I think NIS is really underselling this game.
yeah,
They should be screaming from the mountaintops about all the cool stuff in this, not just, yeah, SNK collection old games, whatever. It should be, no, we've got the console and the arcade version. We've got like let's plays on the disc, and you can take over the let's play at your point. And there's all kinds of art and history, and it's like, you should be telling people about this. I found out about this a month later from the actual developer.
yeah,
That's so. So I
yeah.
appreciate Digital Eclipse's passion. I appreciate SNK and NIS's money and allowance. Allowing Digital Eclipse to go that far, and not just because a lot of publishers would have said, "Look, just crap the ROMs onto a cart and call it a day." You know,
Yeah,
but they
definitely.
actually allowed Digital Eclipse the resources to do it and do it right, and that's you know
This has
kudos.
Crystallis.
Yes, I think.
That is like, sorry, I just opened up their website and it has Crystallis, and I'm like, that alone is enough to get me to want to buy this.
That's one.
Because
It's good. I've actually
yeah,
played that. Believe it or not, I have it. I am old
yeah,
for YouTube personality gamer kind of guy. Uh, I have actually played that.
yeah.
Ikari Warriors is on there too. I've played that. I'll tell you how old I am. I remember playing some of these in the arcade. I've actually not played the console version of several of these. I actually played them in the arcades.
Yeah,
Ikari Warriors, I definitely remember. Beast, it's one of the DLC ones, the one that you have to download separately. Beast Monsters, Beast Wars, Beast something.
yeah.
I remember playing that one. Um, Trying to think, what else is on there?
Let's see. We got Alpha Mission, Athena, Chrysalis, Ikari
Mhm.
Warriors, Victory Road, Ikari 3, Gorilla,
Gorilla, yeah.
POW, uh,
Hmm.
Prehistoric Isle, Psychic Soldier, um, Street Smart.
Is that Double Dragon looking one?
Yeah, Double Dragon or Street Fighter looking thing.
Yeah, it's crap.
Yeah,
I mean,
TN,
it's
yeah,
nice of them to put it on there, but that one's garbage.
TNK 3, Vanguard, Chopper, Fantasy, Munchmobile, Sasuke versus Commander, Time Soldiers, uh, Beast Busters.
Beast
That's the one.
Busters, that's
Yeah.
what it's called. That's what I was trying to think.
Bermuda Triangle,
Hmm.
Ozma Wars, Paddle Mania, SAR Search and Rescue, and World Wars. These are the games that are on listed on their website.
Yep.
So
So you break it down with all the DLC stuff, you're looking at me a little less than like what, $2 a game.
yeah,
And then you look at Hamster's Arcade Archives, which I really like too, but that's like $8 a game. And we've talked about this before, but I'm like, I really think they could. I think they do bet. I don't know how well or how not well Hamster's Arcade Archive stuff is selling, but I have
yeah,
at $8 a pop. I have to think that most people are just going to buy Metal Slug, the games they remember. They're
yeah.
not. I'm not going to drop $8 on something that I've never heard of because I'm cheap. But if a buck, yeah, sure. I mean, if Arcade Archives was like $1 for every game, I'd be like, I'll get them all. Yeah, what
Yeah,
the hell? It's $1.
that's not one of the things I like about some compilations and stuff. I was looking, I was at Walmart the other day and looking at their discount video games and shelf, and there was this Sega Classic Collection for the PS3 for $20, and has like 30, 40, 50 games or whatever on it. And I don't know anything about how well the emulation is on them, but it's got a bunch of games on there that I've been wanting to play, and I'm like, $20 for all these games. And even if I only end up liking and playing 3 or 4 of them, that's $20 isn't too bad for 5 games that I actually enjoy out of all of those. But
Yeah,
yeah,
kind of reminds me of Super Metal Dave, who when he was over here for the charity event last month, he brought his special NES, Super NES Classic Edition, which has way more than what Nintendo put on it.
yeah,
And it's just so much fun to just have such a large library of classic games at your fingertips. It's just
yeah,
because we played a flashback for a while, and I don't think that's on the retail
no, not.
uh, Super NES Classic Edition, and that's just such a great game. I really it's something Sony did with
Yeah,
their advertising for PlayStation Classic. It says something about includes 20 preloaded games, which doesn't state but implies that you can put more on there. Because
yeah,
why would you phrase it like that if you can't? You can't, at least
yeah.
not officially, which is kind
Well,
of
it's like those crappy $20 mall kiosk retro consoles you would get that it's like 200 preloaded retro games, and it's like the box has like 5 recognizable titles on there, and it's like, oh, what are all the 200 other ones? And it's
bombs
just,
we found on the internet.
well, it's just garbage games that were made that you could play for like 5 minutes and get really sick of, and then it's like every 10th one is just a palette swap of the 110 games before it, and
Reminds me of the early Atari games. I'm talking like 2600.
yeah,
When the carts would be like 50 games in one, and what it really means is very slight rule changes between each game.
Exactly.
You know,
I
you've
think I
got
have.
4 lives in this one. It's
Yeah, I've got a combat cartridge up there, and it's got you know, the 5 different games you can play, but there's like 10 different modes for each one, and
yeah, and it's a very slight difference
yeah,
between them. They're not new games.
yeah,
Um, that was always funny. Oh, it reminded me back in the days when DVDs would list special features on the back of the butt. I mean, digital media still does, but um,
yeah.
they'd oftentimes list things like interactive menus, scene selection as special features. It's like you're
And
really scraping
nowadays,
the
you
bottom of the
yeah,
barrel here, guys.
nowadays that's you know,
That's a standard
standard.
feature.
Yeah,
Plays a movie. I mean, I should hope so. So,
yeah,
unfortunately, that's all the examples of great consumer-friendly companies we have this week. But we
yeah.
do have an example of some companies who are being really crap this week. And Capcom, this one I find really gross. So, Capcom is adding sponsored content to Street Fighter V. What that means is various costumes will have advertisements on them, kind of like NASCAR racers have little stickers and patches
Yeah.
on their clothing. Um, there will be loading ads, so you will see sponsors appear in the versus screen before a battle, and stage ads. Some of the tournament stages, like the boxing rings and stuff like that, will have advertisement on the billboards and stuff in the background. That one specifically doesn't bother me so much because that thematically fits in with where they're at.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you really? Is it in character, example, for Ryu to shill for some company by sewing a patch for some company on his gi? I really seriously don't. You're
Can you
you're
buy
busting the believability of the
headphones?
Street Fighter lore.
Yeah, can you buy your character Beats headphones
No.
and you know
By the way,
I'm not.
this is a full-priced retail game that they are
Yes.
2 years later putting advertising in, whether you like it or not. Oh, by the way, if you don't want to see the sponsored content, you can turn it off, but they will penalize you for that somehow, and I'm looking for that.
Let's see. You can easily turn it off in battle settings, which give you following options:
It like
sponsored
changes how much
setting,
money you get for
monster
for fights or
display.
something like that.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I'm not seeing where it says
Yeah,
exactly
here
what
you
to
can adjust
change.
sponsored content setting. Turn sponsored content on to receive bonus fight money in ranked and
Ah, yeah.
casual matches. So they're going to
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
they're
they're
penalizing you a little bit.
yeah. This is kind of like free to play mobile games where it's like watch this video ad and we'll give you 50 coins that you can use to buy stuff and this is ridiculous. This is a full price paid game and there's no reason why they should be stuffing these ads in there. I and this
If
isn't to
this
say
was
ads
just
like
for
this have been out of place in games. Like one of my favorite racing games, Jet Moto 2 has tons of Mountain Dew ads all throughout it. It's like one of the unlockable characters is a mountain is basically the Mountain Dew character, and but yeah, it's just that's just one of the things. You'll see the billboard style ads on the side of the
yeah,
racetracks, but
it,
this is going a little bit further, and especially the loading screen ads.
yeah.
You just know that they're they're artificially inflating load times so
Well,
that
they
the
say
ads
they're
can
not.
play. They say they're not, but they are
It says
because
this will not affect loading screen times. But I'm not clear on this. I wrote Capcom and did not get a response. Uh, I was asking, is this only for the free trial weekend? And specifically, is it only for people participating in the free trial, which is December 11th through December 19th, something like that? That seems fair to me. We're offering a free period where if you don't own the game, you can play it for a week, but we're going to have some advertisements in there. That's fair. I'm totally fine with that. What I'm not okay with is you putting ads in a game I paid full price for a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's really scummy if that's what they're doing. And hello, Tinku in the chat. Now, as far as ads in games, I don't mind as long as it's appropriate for the game. For example, if you're wandering around a modern city, like in GTA or whatever, if I see a Coca-Cola vending machine in somewhere in the city in GTA, that doesn't bother me because Coca-Cola is a thing that exists, that's fine. Now, if I saw a modern Coca-Cola ad in Red Dead Redemption 2, that would be kind of gross.
Yeah. But,
yeah. Stop it, Capcom. That is bad of you.
Ridiculous.
You are being bad. Moving on. Let's see. What is his name? A producer of Mega Man 11, Kazuhiro Tsuchiya, talked about in Mega Man 11, where in Mega Man games where you get to the boss gate and you jump at the boss gate, and Mega Man kind of freezes in place and then scoots over in his jumping pose. We all did that. Well, in Mega Man 11, that's gone now. You jump up at the gate and you just drop right down to the floor and then run through the gate. And everyone was like, dude, what? Why would you get rid of that? That's tradition.
That has been a part of Mega Man since the beginning.
Yeah. There's no good reason. Jordan asks, what about an 1890s Coca-Cola ad in Red Dead 2? If it's like in the shop in that book that you flip through to buy stuff, that would be fine. I mean, if it makes sense for the world you're in, but if you're just jamming ads where they don't belong, like on Ryu's Gi, then that's crap. I mean, especially when you're shunting ads into full-priced games after people have already bought them. Oh, our games have no ads. Our games have no microtransactions or loot boxes or DRM. Then everyone buys your game, and then you put all that stuff in there. No, that's bad. Anyway, so Game Informer interviewed Kazuhiro Tsuchiya about that. And he said, which is paraphrased because Game Informer's paid, so I'm looking at a Destructoid article, says, since there are areas in the game that are connected by horizontal shutters placed in the floor, so the boss room is below where you are, they unified the movement to course correct, meaning that if players were to, say, slide onto the shutter, they would then fall into the area below in that sliding pose, which would be unnatural. That's stupid, because Mega Man games have long had horizontal shutters. It's never been a problem before, and who cares if he drops into the room in his sliding pose? It's hilarious. We like that kind of stuff. It's fun. Stop trying to take away our fun, Capcom.
Basically, what it's saying, what they're saying here is that they're using the same in-game object to control a doorway, a vertical door, and a horizontal trap door. They're using basically the same. They're using the same object, and to prevent odd behavior in the trapdoor style shutters, then that basically makes the vertical ones, the doorways, handle the same interactions in the same way. And it's just like, my thoughts as I was reading this, I was like, just use two separate in-game objects. You don't have to use the same one for a floor door or a trap door, and the same one, as you do the wall door. Just use 2 different objects. You're not saving that much memory by
Or every instance where there's a horizontal shutter in the floor or in the floor, just drop it down a block so that there's a ledge on either side. So you have to walk off because in the game you can't slide off a ledge. Once you're off a ledge, once you slide off a ledge, you immediately go back upright. So you would land. So if you slid off of a ledge, you'd end up landing on the horizontal shutter on your feet. But really, now I just want to see Mega Man suspended in his slide pose as he drops into a room, like this. That would be great.
That would be. It would be
funny.
hilarious.
Video games are fun. Don't take the fun out of video. No. Just see that right there, the fun. Take that out of the game.
Reminds me of I've actually seen a meme of this, but from the Titanic movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, where the drawing scene, the art scene, where she's like, "Draw me like you're one of your French girls" or whatever. Somebody posted a meme of this, and then what's on the picture is Mega Man in his slide pose, and it's hilarious. But yeah.
So,
but yeah,
I mean, it's not the biggest problem in the world, but it just seems like an unnecessary. I don't really buy its explanation because it sounds like one of those. Well, it wasn't realistic; it was emergent. It's like it hasn't been a problem for 30 years. Why was this suddenly a problem? I mean, it's not like you suddenly switched to an ultra realistic art style or tone for Mega Man 11. Hello, Suzanne. No. We're about done.
Yeah, no. What happened was they hired a bunch of developers who didn't care about the source material as well as you would think, and they just totally screwed up, made the game completely unplayable because you can't hold your pose while traversing into the boss room.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, if only Andrew can get past that little snake.
That's right. I couldn't even get to the boss door because I kept getting hung up on a ledge in the middle of Blockman's stage. I think that's his name, Blockman.
Yeah, Blockman.
Blockman's stage. Oh well.
Yeah. So. Oh well.
All right. I think that's our podcast for tonight because Zachary has children to pick up and I have food to pick up.
Yeah.
So. All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for watching the show. And Suzanne, thanks for watching the last 30 seconds of the show. Andrew Eisen here. Eisen is how you spell the last name. Plug it into YouTube. You'll find my YouTube videos. Right now I'm posting all the charity event from last month. I just finished posting all the segments where Super Metal Dave showed up. Tomorrow is the first Just Dance 2019. At 2 points in the show, my sister and I took a break from Zelda and played Just Dance 2019. So you can see me attempt to dance. Isn't that fun? Those will be posted, I think, once a day for the next 2 weeks. I think there's 21 videos in total, something like that. Probably not going, other than podcasts and that, probably not going to have anything terribly new on my YouTube channel until next year. I do have a bunch of stuff I'm working on, though. I'm going to visit my sister, so we're going to try and get some stuff done that should be really cool, hopefully. And other than that, follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen because I tweet funny.
All right.
So, Zachary, plug away.
All right. You can follow me on Twitter at EasyKnight, where I talk about gaming and politics and other things. You can follow my game development work at DK_gaming and DivineKnightGaming.com. And if you're interested in the Oklahoma game development scene, check out OK Game Devs on Twitter and OKGameDev.com.
All right. You've been watching the 126th episode of Molehill Mountain. Hey, thanks. We'll see you all next week, everyone. Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
See ya.